what would I say to buyers right now? If I'm wanting to get ready to buy, what should I be doing? Save your money.
Cut costs, increase income. Put that.
When I first started in 2014, we were having over 1,000 homes on the market, 1,100. And of course, spring was always the hot time to sell. I say any time's in particular. And just a couple months ago, we had 140 homes on the market.
Wow.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
So that no wonder we were having so many all the time to sell.
And are you talking about just Newnan or Coweta County?
Coweta, I'm thinking of Coweta County.
So when supply outpaces demand, prices go up.
Exactly.
Houses move faster.
Yes, and that is
and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and appraisers know that too. And so, like a house, when I price a house, I have to go back and look, because this is what the appraiser does. They go back in time and look at what homes that are comps for your home sell for, and then make those adjustments. And I do some of that adjustments myself to hone in on a value.
Okay.
And but we had an appraiser in our office last week talking to us about all the questions we had, and he said, but we also realize that the market's still improving, even though things are coming back to what really should be normal. But if you look at anything below, so a seller's market is anything, a month's supply is if, like, a seller's market is 6 months or less. So if nothing came on the market and their month supply for a particular price point was below 6 months, then everything, like for instance, you can go $600,000 to $700,000 in Coweta.
Wow.
It has a 1.4 month supply. So that means if nothing else came on the market, it would only take 1.4 months for the 32 homes. Well, let's see. Is it 32?
That are available?
No, there's, 25 homes are for sale in that price point right now. It would only take 1.4 months for them to be gone if no other home came on the market.
Right.
So that's a huge seller's market. We're in a seller's market really from $1 million down.
Which is huge for us, because I remember, I mean, when you and I first met, I was interested in investing.
Yes.
And I was looking for those dirt cheap. I was just getting started. I wanted quick flips. I wanted to, the most margin I could find and the most profit I could extract, but dirt cheap. But we were looking at similar figures, and we talked about how many $1 million homes are on the market and how long a $1 million home would stay on the market, right? As I was looking at growing that part of the business, right?
Yes.
And it was, I forget what the numbers were, but there were only maybe a couple, $2 or $3 million homes, and they were going to sit for hundreds of days before they sold at that time.
Well, and you still see that from the $1 million to $2 million that we're showing in our county.
So above
7.9%. So that's more of a buyer's market. However, the overall in the country, luxury homes are doing well.
Sure.
Because a lot of people are building them, and not all that new building is reflected in these numbers.
Okay.
Some of it is, but not all the builders.
Right, there's no historical data on a new house.
No,
not
all the builders put their new builds on the MLSs. So, and this is the Georgia MLS, which is statewide, but not depending on what side of the state you're in. There's other smaller MLSs, and then I'm a member also of First MLS, which is the Atlanta area, and all the metro counties, which includes Coweta County.
Gotcha.
So depending on the price point of your home, I have not needed to put them on the FMLS because everything goes out. Everything I sell goes out to hundreds of websites all over the country.
Yep.
And you had asked that we might be talking about this. I know I'm getting off on this topic, but where is a good place to buy and sell? And we're getting a lot. The South is good places to be.
Yeah.
And we're getting people from California and all these high tax, higher crime areas.
Sure.
They're coming down to the South.
Better place to live.
Texas I was looking up some of that information. Texas overall is like, they are getting a ton of people.
Yes.
And that is one of the places, if you want to move there, that your home prices are expected to maintain great value and increase in value.
And increase.
Texas, Colorado, I think there was one place in South Dakota. What was it? What's the main big city in South Dakota?
Geography
is Rapid City in South Dakota? I want to say it was that.
Is it Rapids? Cedar Rapids.
Anyway,
is that right?
It was one of their bigger cities.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of big cities there. I've only been to South Dakota once, so.
And I've never been.
Oh, it's beautiful. So
yeah, I read a report.
It's cold, but I mean, it'd be cold in the winter, but.
Recently, that the highest growth cities. So Austin, Texas.
Yes,
was
Austin
was number one, and they have been competing with Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And it seems like on any given quarter when they run these metrics, these numbers, either Austin or Charlotte has been on top for several years now.
Yes.
Another one was Nashville, Tennessee, and they're really doing a lot to try to attract.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in Atlanta, Georgia,
state income tax. Yeah, Atlanta,
right.
Our market. We're part of
part of that greater Atlanta market,
and we have, this Georgia in general has been a good place for businesses to come,
Absolutely.
Which brings more people.
And specifically the film business, video business, right? So you mentioned California, lots of Hollywood guys coming down. We've got friends that live in our neighborhood that came from California in the movie industry, and they had lived their whole lives in California because of that business. And then Georgia started attracting more and more of it and started building, facilities here to do that kind of work. So now we're attracting them. It's not just all pilots and air traffic controllers anymore.
Yeah, we do have a lot of those too. Those have been some of my clients.
Yeah, I mean, the airport certainly, is responsible for most of what we're looking at, but now it really has branched out.
And I'll just put a plug in for Coweta County. I think we're on the best side of Atlanta.
No doubt.
I mean, it's so easy
I wouldn't
to get
live
to
anywhere
the
else.
airport, and the quality of life in our county is so good. And even though we're having a lot of growth, I think overall our county's doing a pretty good job trying to manage that growth.
Seems to be. I'd agree with that.
I mean, I know there's some areas that probably a lot of people would complain about how the growth is happening.
Every city has them.
But there's no perfect place.
That's right. Yeah, we moved here 11, almost 12 years ago now, which is the longest we've lived anywhere. And we've stayed places as short as 10 months and now as long as 12 years. And both my wife and I have decided, the school systems are good.
Yes.
This is where we want to raise our family. We have a son that's in the public school system.
Yes.
We're very happy with that. Yeah. And we love where we live. It's quiet.
Yeah.
We have access to the city. Had some family in over the weekend, shot up to the airport really quick, 30 minutes, pick them up, bring them home. Mm-hmm. When the visit's over, take them back, easy, no fuss. And you're always going the right direction, it seems like. You're never really caught in traffic. The traffic's always on the other side of the interstate.
Definitely.
Because we're on you said the right side of Atlanta. And I think that's right. We're on the southern side of Atlanta, which is the right side to be. All the traffic is going to the north side.
Yes, definitely. Well, can we talk about mortgage rates and recessions?
Please, let's do it. Yeah.
This is a real interesting thought. And the news is just like, oh my gosh, house prices are going to go. We're going to create a crash.
Yep.
Mortgage rates are going up.
And that's what people are feeling, right? People feel that way.
And it's because, honestly, and it doesn't matter, I don't care who you're getting your news from, they don't have all that the correct information. They love sensationalism.
I was just going to say, let's be real. They like the headline, right? They want the headline that's going to sell, that's going to get viewers, that's going to push material and media and content faster, right?
Yeah, they want more likes and clicks and views. So here's the reality of what has happened with our recessions, that we were looking at housing price increases during those 4 out of those 6.
Right.
And we know that the Great Recession was an anomaly. We're not in those conditions. The lending practices right now are just super tight. And so they're healthy. That's a better way of putting it. But as far as mortgage rates, I know people are worried about mortgage rates. Historically, we're still very low.
Very low.
And it was just crazy what happened. And we'll see, obviously, your listeners can't see this chart, but
so we'll do our best to talk through it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll give them some numbers. I'm a visual learner, so I do like seeing things.
If we want to share some of this,
I can send it.
Yeah, and I can link this to, if you've got a website that we can send them to where they can get some of this content.
Yeah. So in the 1980 recession, which lasted 6 months, mortgage rates started out at 16% and dropped to 11.8%. So that's not quite a 4.2%. Yeah.
So this is 1980. So
these are actual interest rates.
I mean, imagine if we were at 11% today, people would lose their minds.
Yes, they would.
But in 1980 we were at 16%, and it went down to 11, which obviously created a lot of activity in the market.
Yes. And I don't have this chart. I'd have to look this one up. But let me just go through.
Sure.
So, look at this. 1981 recession, and it lasted over a year. 18% mortgage rate. Can you believe that? But it dropped to 13%, 5 points. Then 1990s, the rates were at 11% and dropped to 8.8%.
Coming down a little more.
My first mortgage in 1989 was 9%.
Okay.
Yeah. Then in 2000, early 2000s.
So this is where I bought, was in that range.
7.4% was the interest, the average.
And I think I was right at that 6.5.
And then it dropped. I remember this too, because we were refinancing like every
absolutely.
2 years.
Why not?
Exactly.
If the prices are going down, let's do it.
And they've been if you look, starting from 1982, they've been going down ever since. And then our Great Recession, which lasted over a year. Interest rates starting there were already at 6%. They were down from the previous recession, and I was refinancing all during that time. And then the Great Recession, it dropped to 4.9%.
Yeah, the lowest we've seen.
Yeah,
at that time.
And then COVID, our recession that we had last year, which only lasted 2 months.
Right.
And the interest rates were already at 3%, so
which is super low.
4.9 to 3.8. Listen, I don't think my parents have rates that cheap.
And they go down even
and
more.
And my mom's 86.
Yeah.
So just to give you some idea there. It dropped down to 2.8. But my interest rate right now, and we're trying to get our house paid off, Dave Ramsey fan.
There you go.
Early, is 2.625%.
Nice.
Yeah. So
don't mess with that. Lock it in.
Yeah. But we did that. I guess we refinanced. I don't think it wasn't last year, because that's when
it's been in the last couple of years.
It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was 2020 or 20. I think it was 2020.
Which is amazing that you can get a rate that low.
We can't now. Unless, well, you can. Actually, you can get any rate you want if you're willing to pay points, which don't do that.
No.
And paying a little bit of a point to get maybe somewhere, but not. No. You don't want to.
We want to lock in. We want fixed rates. We're not paying luxury fees and all kinds of other fees in order to try to negotiate and get where we want to be.
Careful with that.
That's right.
Yeah, and I did not. The chart I wanted to bring up that I did not have pulled up was during the last recessions, those 6 recessions, people kept buying. Mm-hmm. People always have to buy and sell. So, and with housing prices increasing during those recession periods, you don't have to be scared, about buying.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I don't want my clients to overextend themselves.
Right.
And that's been kind of hard for this market.
Absolutely.
And it's made it a little more frustrating for some of my buyers, that it's been frustrating to find a home.
Sure.
They've been losing out. But when you have to get a certain type of loan and you don't have the cash on hand to guarantee or go over, it puts you in a difficult position. We're entering a period where you're not going to see that as much.
Okay.
You're still going to could lose out.
Yep. But the competition isn't quite as strong right now.
I think we're going to see that lessen some. And honestly, it's been insane to try to. I've noticed some people have gotten 20 offers on their home, and trying to analyze that correctly with your client is difficult.
Yep. And is that just because the house is attractive, or is it because the buyer is waiting for that perfect offer? Or is it a little bit of both?
Why there's so many offers?
Yes.
It's because probably the price point was at a good point.
Okay, so it attracted a lot of activity.
And that's a whole nother talk show about pricing your home correctly for the markets.
And I mean, we'll keep that one in mind because I think that would be a valuable conversation to have, because there's a lot of people, especially as we go into this next year, there's going to be a lot of people in that category, right? And
even in this hot market that we've had, you still have to
do it right.
You have to do it right, and you have to. And that goes back to what appraisers are looking at. They look back, but they are very aware of what is happening in our market, and they're knowledgeable about that. So
somebody, you said, you don't want your clients overextending themselves. So if they're just not ready to buy, I mean, how many people are probably going to make the mistake of locking in and buying a home that maybe they shouldn't have too soon, too fast? Maybe they get a little anxious because the market is so hot. They start feeling that urgency. I gotta move because I'm gonna lose out, right? Maybe a little bit of FOMO or something, right?
Yeah, it is.
So we want to take that fear away.
Yeah.
So if they're not ready, they're not ready.
And that to me is so important. Because I know we wanted to ask, what would I say to buyers right now? If I'm wanting to get ready to buy, what should I be doing? Save your money.
Cut cost, increase income, and put that money in the bank.
And start saving. Like my son, is he going to be 20? No, he's going to be 30 this year. How old is my child?
We all lost 2 years.
I know.
COVID, like that time has just come and gone so fast.
He's a big Dave Ramsey fan.
Good.
I forced my kids, taking them to and from school every afternoon when he was on the radio. They have to listen to Dave Ramsey.
I love it.
And they're both big Dave Ramsey fans.
Absolutely.
And
you can't argue with it.
And I'm just so, well, some people do, but
you can. Yes. But saving money and paying down debt helps. It just does.
And I know we wish our government would do that, but that's another show for another.
I want to believe that they want to do it too. They just don't know how.
Well, some people, it's always easy to spend somebody else's money.
That's right. Absolutely.
Actually, I've never felt that way, but I think a lot of people are that way.
Well, there are realtors out there for sure. I mean, I've met them. I've dealt with people before as we've moved around that it just feels wrong, and now I'm probably getting off on a tangent, But again, like a buyer and a seller, you're out there, you want to be represented well. And I've been in the seat where I felt like my representative was representing the wrong side.
Yes.
Right? All of a sudden they're negotiating. If I'm buying, they're negotiating on behalf of the seller. And they want me to spend more money. And that can go sideways pretty quickly, And so
but some of the reality we've had to tell our buyers is like, if you see a house that you like and looks like moving, ready to go, and this market we've had,
you're going to pay more for that.
I had to give them a hard pill to swallow.
Sure.
But if you have an FHA loan, you probably aren't going to get that home.
Right.
We'll go for it and put forth your best offer, but sellers are not going to pay your closing costs.
Right.
And most FHA loan buyers need
require that. Yeah.
Well, because they only have that 3.5% down payment available.
Yeah. But to your point, you just said save, right, for that buyer out there. So they come in, they've got 25%
and that
cash.
Some people. When you say, you need to save some more money.
Yeah.
But
it's good advice.
It is good advice, and I've lost a client over that.
Sure.
Giving him that advice.
Yeah.
I'm
not a realtor, but I've lost clients on that too.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, we're going to move to cash. We're going to save money. We're going to reduce our expenses, and you get people that say, well, I don't want to give that up.
Exactly.
Right. Well, they're not ready. They're just not ready.
And I don't necessarily say this, but I talk about saving. But if you're getting ready where you need to buy, you probably should start reducing your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And I know Dave Ramsey says beans and rice. Well, I don't want to eat beans and rice. Well, you can buy some eggs.
Get ramen.
Meat.
I love ramen.
But
that's my son's favorite meal.
One of my favorite things to do is go out to eat.
Yeah.
That's
sure.
My husband and I would like. That's our entertainment. Is we like to go out to eat.
But you don't do it every night.
Well, we would do it when we, as our kids have gotten older. It's just really him and me mainly. Sometimes we could go pretty cheap.
Sure. There you go. Get creative, right?
Yeah.
Share an entree. Get water.
We would go to like Burger King with their coupons, and we can eat.
There you go.
You can eat for under $10
right.
at Burger King or Taco Bell.
Absolutely.
I know that's not healthy, but
But it's fun, right?
Yeah, it's a
and
cheap
you're getting
date.
creative. It's a cheap date. You still get to go
On
out.
a cheap date, I can't be cheap.
And you're not spending money where you don't need to be spending money.
Exactly.
Right.
So
maybe it's even cheaper than getting food at the grocery store.
In
some cases.
And taking the time to prepare it.
There you go.
So, but there's things, that are, the stuff that people hate to do, meal planning.
Right.
Keeping account of what you were spending, that bad B word.
The budget. No, this is the best word you can learn.
A spending plan.
Absolutely.
Making plans for what your money's going to do. That's really critical.
Yeah.
And I actually had somebody, I was recently talking to a buyer, and they really did not understand. They said, "Oh, we have no debt," and they're spending money on their credit cards but paying them off every month.
Right.
I said, but the lender looks at that that messes up your debt to income ratio. I said, but it's not debt we're paying off. No,
but it is debt. Yeah, a credit card is a form of debt.
So if you're wanting to buy, you just need to
put those in the.
I know. If you're going to Dave Ramsey,
we shred them.
Dave Ramsey's shred them.
But at least put them in the drawer,
them
right?
Away. Don't use them. Pay cash. And again,
And does that mean somebody, as they're getting ready, they haven't bought the house yet? So does that mean we're renting? Are we still trying to live with family? What do you see?
Living with family,
Yeah.
and they weren't paying anything, but they weren't saving anything.
But they weren't saving.
And
this is a key point right here.
That was a sticking point, I think.
So how do you feel about this? So I give this advice all the time.
Yeah.
Before you buy, right? Go ahead and figure out what that mortgage payment is going to look like, what you feel like you can afford, and we've got some formulas that I teach, for that. The standard Ramsey formula, but start making the payment now, but put it into a savings account, and then that's how you start saving. And then now I'm making a payment. Now start trying to accelerate on it. See how much more you can put into that account, right? And see how fast you can get to your down payment. And then when you back off of that, after you've now got the house, and now you're only making that minimum mortgage payment, it actually frees up a little bit of cash, right?
Yes.
Now I've spent the down payment. Yeah. I've gotten the house. I negotiated I qualified for a good loan, a 15-year, hopefully fixed rate at whatever the rates are, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a payment that I can handle because for the last 2 years, I've been making payments into a savings account larger than my now new mortgage payments.
Yes.
And so my mortgage payment doesn't hurt as much, right? It's practice.
But people don't want to practice that.
It's true.
As a rule. And you were talking about buyers, like should they buy now? The good thing about buying is that you can fix your budget.
Right. And you own an asset that hopefully has some value, and now you have equity over time. Yes.
Is going to increase.
One of the best investments you can make is a home.
And you don't want to get into the ARMs. Of course, those are becoming more prevalent right now.
So
to get that attractive interest rate.
That's right.
But there's such a catch with those.
And this happened back when I bought in the early 2000s. Those were very appealing to people, and they were pushing them really hard. I think my first loan was an ARM. And so what is an ARM? We're saying ARM, which somebody doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, an adjustable rate mortgage. When interest rates start to get a little higher than people are used to, you start seeing this adjustable rate mortgage where you have this low interest rate. And right now they're like 3, depending on if it's a 15 or 30
So somebody thinks they're winning.
Yeah.
I can get a 3% loan.
And what they're telling you is like, if you think you're only going to stay in your home 5 years, and for people who get ARMs, the adjustable rate mortgage, they typically end up staying longer.
Sure.
Something happens and they've ended up staying longer. So what happens, say if you get a 5-year adjustable rate mortgage at say 3%, I'm just giving an example here, and the prevailing rate now is over 5.5%.
Starting to push on 6. That's right.
Yes.
Yep.
And so, I want that 2% lower. But in 5 years, so you've got that fixed rate for 5 years, but in 5 years, who knows what the interest rates are going to be? And
unless you're going to refi, the lender is saying, we're just going to adjust.
Now you're going to adjust and say, I'm just making it numbers. Say your house payment's $1,000, then all of a sudden, 5 years from now, it's $1,500 to $1,600.
Right.
And you go,
where are you going to find that extra money?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've done it. You're saying we've done it.
Yep.
But boy, since that first rate drop happened, I was refinancing out of it.
The second I could get a fixed rate loan, I did. And my first loan was an FHA loan.
And so was ours.
Yeah.
That wasn't my adjustable. My second loan was the adjustable rate. And, you know, what happened there is we moved up in house on that second home.
Which is pretty common, right? Or has been.
And this is only my third home.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Jimmy and I have been married 34 years. So it's only our third home.
Wow.
And that we've owned. And
yeah, if we look at the last 15 years of data, that's very uncommon.
It's
right?
It's not.
People are moving every couple of years.
Yeah, and typically,
and a lot of what's driving that is work, right?
Yes.
Dual income households.
Yes.
You've got an employer that's dictating where you're going to live and how long you're going to stay there.
Yes.
And I say dictating. I mean, these people are moving up in their careers, right? They're getting promotions. They're getting more responsibility, opportunity, and it's coming with a relocation.
Yes. And that's actually what happened
and that is continuing.
My current, my latest seller, I should say, has, that's what happened with him. Actually, he had a job change because when COVID hit, he lost his job.
Gotcha.
But
so this was now a new job, yeah.
Well, he's in the same field, but
new employer.
It moved him out of state, but he was able to still stay here, and now he's out a better position, I should say. And that's not the word I'm looking for. I'm having a senior moment. Sorry.
It was a promotion.
A promotion. Thank you. That's the word. The word of the day is promotion. So he got a promotion, but it required him to stay up in Kentucky.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah. But worth it
and
for
him. He's a pilot, so he could fly.
There you go. Yeah.
So. But now.
But even with that, and so I just don't want anybody to get confused. We're not recommending that for somebody that is moving every couple of years with an employer. An ARM is still not a good idea.
No.
We don't want to ever get stuck or locked into or thinking that we're saving or winning by some of these other debt loan products that are designed for the lenders to
make money,
increase their profits. Right. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that all the time. The loans are for the benefit of the lender.
Yes, they are.
Right? We utilize them,
right?
But we want to make sure that if we have to get one, we're only getting certain kinds, fixed rate loans that we know what we're getting into, and we have that long-term commitment established so that things aren't changing.
Yes.
Right? Because even if my income goes up, I don't want to just turn around and give that income to my lender.
Nope.
Right?
Nope. That's why we've been in our house 15 years.
Yeah.
Now, something I've been seeing with some of my buyers / sellers I've had are I'm the last of the baby boomer generation, and so the baby boomers are all hitting retirement mode.
Sure.
My husband's older than me, so he's closer to his full retirement age than I am. Because I keep moving that retirement age. You're probably. What is your retirement age?
I retired last year.
I mean, but like for Social Security. What?
I'm not sure. I think it's
probably closer to 67 to 68.
Yeah, I was going to say it's north of 65.
I think my son's 70.
70.
Yeah, he's 29, so his is 70. So I think everybody, that may be newsflash to some people.
It could be, yeah.
Listeners, it's, and it may not be there by the time.
Well, I'm making a mental note. I may do some research, and I might just focus on, a lot of times I like to do an episode just on one topic, 20 minutes, just dive in. So that would be a good one, I think, to focus on, because it is a moving target.
It is.
And you asked me, and it's something that, thankfully, it's not something that my wife and I look at, discuss, follow, are depending on, this is going to be icing on the cake if there even is Social Security when I retire.
And that's a whole other,
which is a whole other deal.
Yeah.
But it's because of a lot of what we're talking about that I'm able to do this, becoming a financial coach and buying, taking advantage of or looking for negotiating the right kind of loans for a home, which is the only kind of loan that we advocate, and living a different type of lifestyle and making those necessary.
And I've helped people, that don't fall into Dave Ramsey plan, because not all of them are going to do that.
And you don't have to.
No, and but what I'm seeing is like a lot of people my age and quite a bit older, like closer to even my mom's age, in their late 70s, and my mom's 86.
My folks
want to downsize, but they're selling their homes and buying a home that's smaller but costs as much or more.
Right.
And they're going into having. I mean, you don't want to have to go into a 30-year mortgage to have an affordable house payment when you're in that point in your life.
Right.
The goal obviously is to have your house paid for.
Paid for.
And that is I know that's not the reality.